Our next guest served as the controller, acting controller of currency under President Trump, as well as the chief legal officer at Coinbase. Just this morning, it was announced that he'll become CEO at Binance US. That's the American arm of the crypto exchange Binance. Brian Brooks joins us now. What was the thinking? Everybody has heard of Binance, I think. Binance US needed to be created to use all the technology of Binance, but the regulatory regime is different in the United States. Brian, is that how it works?
Well, it is, Joe. Let me just say, first of all, though, I've never been let in with a Michael Corleone reference, so I'm still kind of getting that from. But look, here's the real point: is that Binance US and Binance are really entirely separate companies, and Binance US was set up as a separate company specifically because the US has its own regulatory regime around these kinds of assets. And obviously, there are tens of millions of Americans who want access to this stuff. And as I tried to show at the OCC, we need better clarity in this country to let people productively invest in this new important technology. That's one of the things I'm going to do at Binance US is to help continue to shape that dialogue. You saw that we've had you on before. We've talked about the volatility of some of the different assets, but you saw Bitcoin over the weekend, I think, on the Coinbase. Excitement ran up to almost 65,000, and then one tweet or one implied threat that could come from regulations here knocked about 20% right off the top, right off of a $1 trillion asset. Brian, what do you make of that, and what kind of future do you see in terms of regulations here and around the world? Yeah, you know, Joe, on the price thing, I mean, I guess. I mean, what the numbers really show is there were lots and lots of days in the last 6 months when Google stock went down 100 and 200 points, and there were some days when Bitcoin went up and down. But if you look at year-to-date returns on Bitcoin, it's significantly net positive, better than the stock market, and it's traded between 50,000 and 70,000 for a pretty long time, compared to 2 years ago when it might fall, 50% in a week and fall another 20% the following week. So I don't actually see the volatility as extreme as some people say. Look, we're trying to build a fundamental technology here. So these crypto assets are all, you know, I've talked about it before. They're all about building networks. And in the early days of the internet, a lot of those stocks traded way up and way down as people were looking for use cases. But at the end of the day, it's fundamental technology, meaning finance is going to be built on top of these networks. So I'm not too worried about it in the short term. The real issue is regulation and getting to a place where the United States can protect people from the real risks of money laundering and fraud and things like that, while not disadvantaging U.S. investors relative to people who live in Asia and Europe and other parts of the world. What do you want Binance U.S. to be, Brian? And we've got a little less than maybe a minute left, and we're going to have to go. But what are your plans? Where do you want to take it? Look, I mean, Binance U.S. should be one of the two most important trading platforms in the United States, and Binance U.S. should do a better job than others of adding value, right? Margin and futures and derivatives in a legal, licensed way. That's where this company can really add value, is giving people choices on price and on product. You saw the Coinbase IPO, not an IPO, but the direct listing, and you saw where it had a market cap of almost $100 billion at one point. Do you foresee a similar future for Binance US? And was that realistic for the potential? Look, I think the potential is enormous. The potential is Google size. I think Coinbase over time will go way up from where it is today, and I think Binance will be its main competitor.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.